Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're giving you the first half of our Week 8 fantasy football starts and sits. We're here to help you make all the right decisions on who you should have in your lineup, who you should have out, who's going to break your heart if you leave them in there. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right now.
Hit that drop. Hello and welcome. I am Justin, that is Kyle, and this is the Fantasy Football Upside. Thank you very much for dropping by our Fantasy Football podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate it. Today we're going to dive right into it. We're going to give you the first half of our start sit questions for Sunday and Monday games for this Week 8. But first, check out our Start Streamers and Fades episode from yesterday by clicking the link where Kyle is pointing and also down in the description below. Kyle, what you got before we get started, buddy?
Don't cross streams. Don't cross streams.
Don't do it. It's so streamy.
All right, guys. So, hey, if you need help through the season, you want to have help with your starts, your sits, your matchups, you got questions for us, anything like that, feel free to go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell. We'll help you the rest of the way through the season. So, hey, we're moving on here to Week 8. We're going to get through the matchups here. Hopefully, we can help you make some decisions. Mm-hmm. Remember, your waivers have run, so double check who has been dropped in your league. That's always an important thing to do. Because sometimes you'll find some things down there. I was involved in a trade this week in our league that somebody picked somebody up off the waiver wire and ended up trading them.
Yeah.
So I think it was Christian Kirk. I think he just came up off the waiver wire. Anyway, if you got any questions, we're always asking. So feel free to go ahead and drop a comment down below, letting us know what your questions are. If you got a start sit question, you got a trade question, anything like that. Should I drop this guy? Is this guy cuttable? That sort of stuff. Let us know. All right, let's dive in head first into the shallow end. Let's get moving here on some of these starts and sits for the games.
We have the first one is the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Baltimore Ravens. And Kyle, why don't you go ahead and hit me with
Did you say Pittsburgh or Pittsburgh?
Well, you know what? Ben Roethlisberger was throwing some picks, so maybe it was Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
I did that on purpose.
I think I could be of some assistance with this Pan or Pam thing. Yeah. All right. Well, Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger. I'm going to say start Ben Roethlisberger. I think that this isn't as bad of a matchup as you would initially think. Baltimore has not been that great against the pass or against the QB this year. They're actually kind of middle of the road as it goes toward fantasy points allowed to the QB position. And so it's not as bad as what you would think. James Conner, you got to start him. Dude has been a stud this year, so our rule, start your studs. But warning, this week, he's not going to be one. He's just not going to be a stud this week. My other starts here, I've got one other start here, and that is Deontay Johnson, because volume is going to save his day, I believe. I had initially thought about Eric Ebron, but I just backed away from it. I think that he's going to be a mid tight end too, and so he's just not worth it. He's not going to get a whole lot of targets there, I think. So he's been getting a good amount of targets, but
as long as Deontay can stay healthy for a whole game, he is definitely wide receiver.
He's missing practice, so be wary, be aware of what is going on there. He may not be full go, so pay attention to that. I forget what he's dealing with this time. Dude's just banged up everywhere.
He got knocked out of the game last week, and then
I think it's a toe thing this time or something like that. I don't know. All right, what do you got here on Baltimore?
All right, Ravens are coming back from their bye week. So what that means is that's another week removed for Lamar Jackson to get over what, was the knee issue. And then, he's got a knee issue. He's got a knee. Then I think he was sick as well. But so Lamar Jackson, I believe, is a start. It has definitely been a down year for him this year. And this is a tough matchup against the Steelers. But, I mean, you still have to fire him up. You just don't sit Lamar Jackson. We can't say do that.
No.
But so here's another one. Gus Edwards is a flex only if Ingram is out for this game. He may come back for this game, but I would stay away from it. So that's only if he is back. Do you not start Gus Edwards? I guess you put him in the flex. Marquise Hollywood-Brown is a desperation wide receiver 3. He is just so boomer bust right now. And
he's high volume though. He represents 35% of the targets in that offense or something like that. Now there's not a ton of targets.
25 times.
Yeah. But still, I mean, the dude's getting a good amount of targets. So this is the week to trade for him. I think if you want to trade for him, their schedule, I think, opens up a little bit. It's not great, but it does open up a little bit. And, volume is one of the best metrics for whether or not a wide receiver is going to be valuable.
I know volume is volume, but it's just like we can't really get much out of that
No,
volume right now, which
not
is
right
what's
now.
tough.
Yeah.
But there's another guy that's been, well, actually his targets have been kind of down this year is Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still a start, but that's a lot has to do with what the wasteland of the tight end position is. And at any one point, he could catch 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns. He's done it multiple times this year.
Yeah.
So that's who I have right now for the
I like your note on Mark Andrews only because you have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's truthfully really it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So next game we have the LA Rams versus the Miami Dolphins. Kyle, hit me with the Rams.
All right. So I'm going to say start Jared Goff, actually. Miami is a tough matchup. They are. But I think at best here you're dealing with a back-end QB1. Miami is tough on they're tough on the wide receivers and tight ends to some extent. That's where the defense is being successful.
Mm-hmm.
They are not actually killing the QB position. So it's kind of odd that they'd be tough to wide receivers and tight ends, but not killing the QB. Darrell Henderson is a start as well. Should have a good day if his volume continues as it has been lately. That's your guess is as good as mine because they keep saying that Cam Akers is going to get more volume. He's going to get more volume, and that's coming from the coach. So apparently
Malcolm Brown gets some work here or there as well.
Apparently, well, I mean, Cam Akers, I don't think he got a carry last week, and he had 3 the week before, and that was following McVay saying, I think he came out and said they're going to start increasing his volume, and then literally nothing. It went down. So apparently McVay is just like Bruce Arians. Don't believe a darn thing out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, I'm saying start, but that is mostly because the two of them are the primary values of that offense at this point. Sit your tight ends in this matchup. This is a bad matchup for both Higbee or Everett. If you're playing either one of them, I don't know if you are.
Mm-hmm.
Miami, what do you got?
All right. Tua's first game.
Yep.
I'm going to pause for that first game unless you're in a super flex or a 2 QB league. So if you're in one of those, feel free to start him. You just don't know what you're going to see just yet. You don't know how healthy that hip is.
Yeah.
But Myles Gaskin, let's fire him up. I mean, he's getting the volume. We talked about volume for the wide receivers. It's even more important for running backs.
Yeah.
Fire him up. He's getting some nice volume. He's an RB2 for the rest of the year, in my opinion. Devontae Parker, start your studs. Even though we don't really know exactly what we're getting with him and Tua.
I've heard that he's going to be the biggest beneficiary of Tua coming. Now,
and that would be great for you.
It would be great for me in our league, right?
Give a few shares and
I get it.
Yeah, in Devontae.
But I that's hard to beat Ryan Fitzpatrick just throwing 11 targets at Devontae Parker every single week. So we'll see what that means. I don't
exactly. And that's why I'm kind of tempering my expectations in this game.
Yeah.
There is one sit I do want to say, and that's Mike Gesicki. The duds are far outweighing the stud games out of him. It's been pretty disappointing, truthfully, out of a lot of buzz coming out of him.
Yeah.
All righty. So up next, we have the New York Jets versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Hit me with the Jets, Kyle.
The Jets. The worst. As you know, our favorite team, the worst. They are the worst. We love the drop. And it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. It's, so the reason I'm stalling here is because I'm just going to waste a little time and then say, that's it. That's it. LaMichael Pirine, don't believe the hype. Just don't believe the hype. Look, Bell proved already in one game that the problem is Adam Gase. He had, I think, 3 runs over 15 yards in the year and a half that he was on the Jets. Last week with Kansas City, he had 2 in 6 carries. So there you go. That's all you need to know. And so do not believe the hype. LaMichael Pirine is going to be just as bad as Samaje Pirine was, and this is going to be terrible. So I literally have sits for all of them. They're not flex worthy. I wouldn't even touch these guys in multi-flex leagues. Run. Seriously, just run. I mean, the only guy I would consider starting is Joe Flacco in a super flex or 2 QB league because you kind of have to, maybe.
Yeah.
You need that second QB or something, and there's nobody else available? Sure. Why not? That's it. We got Kansas City. I'm sure you got a little bit more than I do because
I have just a little bit more.
Your team is not
the worst. Yeah, I have a few more.
Yep.
Yeah, going to be a few starts in this one. Mahomes against this defense, I would say yes, please. I'll have some of that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Well, you would and you wouldn't, right? Because you're
Oh, yeah,
facing me this
yeah.
week, and I
Facing
have
you,
Mahomes.
you have Pat Mahomes, yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada. I'm
Yeah.
cool, I'm cool. All right, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the eclair. I think he's going to maintain some of the RB2 status this week, and that's a lot has to do with how bad running backs are right now as well when it comes to injuries, as well as people on a bye.
Yep.
But I'm also going to fire up Lev Bell because this is a revenge game.
Oh yeah.
So definitely sign me up for this one.
And Andy Reid loves that sort of stuff too, man. He loves that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's one of those things where maybe if they get up a few touchdowns on the Jets, maybe they sit CH down, just for a quarter or so, just to give him some rest as a rookie. And like, hey, Bill, have fun.
Have at it.
Go get him.
Have at it.
Yeah.
Go
But
get him,
Tyreek
Tiger.
Hill, Tyreek Hill, I think he's a start as well. I mentioned this in our starts of the week. I had him as that because I think against this defense, he can eclipse 100 yards, which would be the first time this year, which is just crazy to me. I think it's going to happen.
I think you could consider starting Demarcus Robinson and McCole Hardman, actually, because I think there's going to be a lot of volume available in this offense.
I did
early, at least
that.
Early until they blow it out and start running the ball.
And that was my issue, but that would be something where Demarcus Robinson and even Byron Pringle, they'll be on the field. If this is a blowout, they'll still be on the field because they're not, A1 starters always have to be out there kind of thing when it comes to the starts.
Yeah.
So my last one here is Travis Kelce. Start your studs. Kelce definitely fits that sentiment. Once again, as long as they don't go up 4 touchdowns, and then why risk getting Kelce hurt? So that's the only thing we kind of temper expectations when it comes to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's move on here. We got Minnesota versus Green Bay. You go ahead and run through Minnesota here. And right off the top, you've got Kirk Cousins, and I just want to throw this in there.
Mock. Yeah.
You got to mock Kirk Cousins, right?
You like that?
You like that? Yeah, I do, actually.
Well, not if you're a fan of Kirk Cousins and what he's been doing. Yeah. But that's a sit for me. And I put in a comment here, I just put ha. But Dalvin Cook, he is a start. He's practicing on a limited basis, but Zimmer came out and said he would most likely not be on a pitch count. So, this is coach talk as well, but I don't really know Mike Zimmer's background when it comes to him, fluffing stuff.
He's not one of those kind of guys.
That's not his style.
No,
I don't think that's his style. So,
I've heard it suggested that he's on the hot seat. So if that is the case, if he's getting any sort of hint that he is, there's no way he's not going to burn it to the ground. Just run Dalvin Cook
30 carries.
Yeah. So I can't imagine they would
fire him up. Fire him up. All right, wide receivers. I am going to start both Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. It's just for Adam Thielen, you start your studs. Just limit your expectations again, like when it comes to what you're going to get out of him. He's been doing, he's been performing as a wide receiver 1 for most of the year, but it might be back in wide receiver 2.
Yeah,
and then Justin Jefferson is slightly boomer bust because of the matchup. It's okay if Thielen doesn't get his, that means Jefferson has to, just because there's not as much out there when it comes to receiving targets.
Well, I also think that it kind of depends on whether or not Jair Alexander ends up shadowing one or the other, and he's as good of a shutdown corner at this point as anybody in the league. It seems.
Has he been shadowing a lot this year that you know of?
He's done a decent bit of it. Yeah, he has. Like the instances in which he's been beat, the ball was thrown to the wrong spot. And so he was out of position as a result. Like he played perfect coverage, but you can't cover a bad throw. When you're in perfect position, you just can't cover it.
Okay, that means this game might be a blowout.
Yeah, it might be a real blowout. Yeah, he just might have touchdowns over his head all day long.
Because they're just missed throws against.
Yeah, basically Kirk Cousins is Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
they are the same QB almost. It's just different targets. So.
All righty. My last little note I have here for a desperation tight end is Irv Smith Jr. He's starting to get some target volume as well.
Sure.
So he did that before the bye week. So that would be one to take a look at. But what do you got for me for the Green Bay Packers, sir?
Oh, Green Bay. Okay, so let's start Aaron Rodgers. My note says terrible pass defense, but luckily for him, he's not out there playing defense, and his pass defense, I'm sure, is terrible. No, the Vikings are a terrible pass defense. As you know, they're absolute trash. So some caveats here. We've got some real problems as far as injury report. We don't really know whether or not Aaron Jones is going to play. It looked like he was going to make it this week. He keeps saying, I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. And then he's literally not practiced so far. So he needs to get a practice in today, or the likelihood of him playing is pretty much zero. You have to make alternate plans then. Those alternate plans can include Jamal Williams, who you will start if Aaron Jones is out. Both of these guys are starts. If Aaron Jones is a start if he's in, Jamal Williams is a start if Aaron Jones is out. Either way, you get one.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Either way, you're getting a top 10 running back.
Yeah.
Depends
So
on which one.
this defense is trash when it comes to pass defense. It's like second in the league at giving up fantasy points to the wide receiver and I think QB even. And so Devontae Adams is a start. Alan Lazard, I'm not saying start him, but I just wanted to point out that you have to keep an eye on whether or not he's sitting on your waiver wire, because he is coming back, guys. He has been pulled off of IR. I imagine that they're going to add him to the 53-man roster before the week is done. I'm going to pass on.
They have quite a few days to put him on there.
They have 21 to do
Yeah.
it. So I don't know if they're going to put him on the roster this week or not. I don't know to what extent he's fine to go yet.
You may not have to do that this game either.
No.
You know what I mean? Like you can wait possibly.
Yeah. But I think you can only do that with like one guy max. And I think that they're already planning on that with Aaron Jones. Because if you're just going to hold off on these guys, then it's like at some point your B squad's not going to be able to perform at the level necessary to beat this trash team. Robert Tonyan, decent matchup for the tight end, not a great one. But this defense can't really cover anybody, and especially not that huge guy. All right, let's move on here. Indianapolis versus Detroit. Indianapolis, you got it. Hit it.
All right.
Let's see it.
All right, Jonathan Taylor is a start. He's definitely seen his efficiency improve as the year has gone on, and that's something. I mean, he's a rookie running back. Even with running 6,000 yards in 3 years, you're going to be learning a lot at the NFL level, and we're starting to see that out of Jonathan Taylor, and he's still going to get the volume. All right, wide receivers, I can't start any of them.
Yeah.
That's hard for me to say, especially against this defense. But I can't give you an idea saying, okay, start Ty or start Pittman Jr. or Pascal or Marcus Johnson, because you just don't know which one is.
Well, I want to point out that in a 7-day span, both you and I dropped T.Y. Hilton in our league. Both of us.
And that hurts.
So, yes, it does.
I decided to pick him up, and then I was like, well, I got another injury, and I need to pick up somebody. And sorry, Ty, you just didn't make the cut, buddy.
Yep.
I am going to start one other person on this team, and it's actually going to be Trey Burton.
Yeah.
I think he has taken over as one of the Rivers' primary targets.
I think
what I just said at wide receiver is there's just not enough consistency in the wide receiver room. And Trey Burton, I mean, consistency hasn't really been his forte, but the way he looked last week or the previous week that they played looked pretty good.
Yeah.
So who do you got for me on the Lions?
On the Lions here. On both of these, we've got a lot of sits, a whole lot of sit going on right now. And so I've got one start, and that is Kenny Golladay. That's it. It is literally it. And look, there's not many holes on this defense. That's the real problem. And so he might snag you a TD, he might get some yards for you, but it's going to be a long day for the Lions. It's going to be a really long day.
Darius Leonard should be back this game as well. So that's another thing that doesn't help. Kamoko Toure, one of our pass rushers, could make his season debut this week as well. So
I would just say that, if you've got Kenny Golladay, you weren't taking him out of your lineup. Anyway. So, it's not really a stretch for me to say, hey, fire him up,
Fire him up.
All right, let's move on here. Las Vegas versus Cleveland. I'll take Las Vegas here. I'm starting Derek Carr. This is a great matchup. He should continue on his tear. I pointed out this week in our waiver wire episode that you needed to make a play for Derek Carr. If you needed a QB, I hope that you were able to get him. I think, was it you or somebody else stole him basically this week? I know that my brother was trying to get a hold of him and somebody got him.
So it was down to Teddy Bridgewater or Derek Carr. And I went with Teddy Bridgewater, which was looking okay until we started watching the Thursday night game, and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm saying fire up Derek Carr. Look, he's averaging just under 300 yards a week, and he's somewhere north of 2+ TDs. He's getting 2 to 3 TDs a week. He's had one game that went below that. It was week 1,
Wow.
which is really surprising because I don't like the wide receivers. Like they're all young, they're all banged up, that sort of stuff. So Josh Jacobs is an obvious start. You got to start him here. And even though it's not the greatest matchup for him actually, but he did okay last week. He wasn't, we expected him to bomb last week. So any volume or any value was good last week.
Right.
As far as wide receivers, start Nelson Aguilar.
Woo.
He's getting a ton of targets possibly. And so why not? Right.
Yeah.
He's not going to catch them all because that's what he does. Start Darren Waller, should put up a pretty decent day. This is about the time of the season that Darren Waller starts actually playing. So this might be a good matchup for him. So that's all I've got on Las Vegas. What do you have on the Browns?
All right, Browns. Kareem Hunt is a definite start. This may be the last week of what we've seen of the workhorse Kareem Hunt that we have seen the last few weeks, because Chubb should be back after the bye, which their bye is next week. So the following week, week 10, I think it is, he should be back. So
get him
when you still can.
There's a small amount of noise saying that he might be back actually this week.
Really?
Yeah, I saw some noise saying that. So do keep an eye on that if you have Kareem Hunt.
Kyle's got his ear to the ground.
That. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that's just noise. I really do. They're just messing with Gruden. That's all they're doing.
Just to see his head explode.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Turn red and try to stab somebody like a killer doll from the 80s.
Chucky. So Jarvis Landry, I'm going to start him. I think his target share should go up, what he was accustomed to before OBJ came around.
Yeah.
And then now for the second wide receiver on this team, it's either going to be Rashard Higgins or Donovan Peoples-Jones.
I like Donovan Peoples-Jones, man. I really like him.
I know you do. I know
Dude
you do.
was dominant in college.
I'm going to lean towards Rashard Higgins right now.
I think he's the guy with the skill set to do it right now. So
yeah, well, that's the thing. It's once again, it's rookie wide receiver.
Yep.
He's going to flash for sure because he is uber talented. So it just depends on who they want to out there to replace OBJ. So I have Rashard Higgins as a kind of a desperate find, flex right now.
Yeah.
I think he will be the wide receiver 2 on this team, like I said. But another guy on here for the tight ends, man, this is another tough one because Hooper was out with the appendectomy.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't practiced yet. So if he plays, start him. If he doesn't, I still don't start any other tight end.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really believe in what Harrison Bryant did last week.
But I would say that going forward without OBJ, the tight end position is now more valuable there. There's just less mouths to feed there. And so I definitely
think Austin Hooper is going to be a nice tight end as soon as he gets back on the field for the rest of the year.
Sure.
Absolutely.
That sounded a lot more inappropriate than it should have. He's going to be a nice tight end.
All
right, let's move on here. Our last matchup for this episode, we've got
here.
Hey, you said it. I've got Tennessee versus Cincinnati. This is Tennessee at Cincinnati. I'll take Tennessee here.
All right.
And Ryan Tannehill. Let's run through this pretty quick because there's a lot of this here. Tannehill is a start. This should be a pretty good day. Cincinnati is not like an atrocious defense. They're just all around like back end of the middle of the pack, which makes them pretty bad in every turn. It's like, the law of averages, they just drag down. Derrick Henry, start your studs. Got to start your studs. Derrick Henry, if you have him, you're not benching him. AJ Brown, start him. Corey Davis, start him. Although I do personally think I want AJ Brown to not do well this week. That's personal reasons, because don't you have him?
I do.
Yeah. And
Come on, buddy, I need your help this week.
Jonnu Smith he's the start of the week at tight end for me. So fire him up. I think he's gonna have a heck of a week here. Actually, I really, really do. So he's my start of the week at tight end. Go for it here with Cincinnati. What do you got?
All right. Well, I'm going to start the guy that's throwing it 40 plus times every single week, and that is Joe Burrow.
Sitting on my bench. He's sitting on my bench doing that, isn't he?
Well, I can't wait for Joe Burrow just to go off on this game, and you have him on the bench, and then Pat Mahomes throws 2 touchdowns.
Wait.
Runs for 2 more, and then
that happened last week. I
They
got,
did. Yeah, it did.
I got 14 points out of
Mahomes.
Mahomes and 44 out of Burrow on my bench. I still won, but it would have been much more convincing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dan.
Yeah.
But Burrow, I mean, he's got great weapons. He really does. Even though he has one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL.
Yeah.
It really is.
Pass
All right.
blocking. Yeah.
Running backs. I'm gonna start Giovanni Bernard.
Like, is he a yogurt cup? What is this?
This is vodka.
Chobani? Are you saying start a Greek yogurt?
Yes. Oh, goodness. All right, Bernard. He's a start if Mixon is out. Joe Mixon, as of this recording, has not
He's
practiced
out.
Wednesday or Thursday. He has
he's,
not.
He's out. No, he's not coming back. They got to buy next week. He's not coming back.
There you go.
There's a couple good like fantasy football doctors that are on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Take a peek around, look, you'll find a couple really good ones. There's one that I really like. I can't think of his name right now. I'm going to see if we can't get him on our show or something during the summer this year. I think
that'd be great.
Talk about off-season surgeries and stuff like that. He's based out of Miami of all places.
Nice.
So yeah.
All right.
Move on. Let's go.
All right. The last little bit of notes here is the wide receiver room. And I just have start your studs. Tyler Boyd, AJ Green, T. Higgins. You're throwing the ball 40 plus times. I think there's enough to go around. So especially if your name is T. Higgins, just throw to him constantly. I may need you again this week. AJ Brown, T. Higgins. You're my boys.
What I am surprised is that T. Higgins has yet to actually have a wide receiver one day. He has finished wide receiver 13 twice and wide receiver 15 once, if I remember correctly. So he's yet to have that wide receiver one day. And it seems like he should, because you see him going across the middle and he dwarfs those guys in the back end of defenses. It's crazy how much bigger he is than those guys.
I am very happy with his how quickly he's adapted to the NFL, because usually rookie wide receivers, it takes them a little bit. But you know what they say about second round wide receivers, man.
It's been a good year for that, though, man.
First round wide receivers.
It's been a really good year for rookie wide receivers, though. So.
Yeah, it has.
Yep,
it has.
So that's going to be it for this episode, guys. I'm going to go ahead and put the waiver wire episode and the start, streamers, and fades up on the screen right now. Make sure you go ahead and click those, as well as clicking the subscribe button down below. We do this every week. We put up 5 episodes, guys. So we'll help you get through the season here. Hopefully we can get you that championship. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. And thanks for being a fan of the Upside. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See you guys.